1, 2. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining this special broadcast today. We shall be talking on the very important conference that is coming up in Berlin, Germany. It is going to be one of the very, very important conferences that this interim government has organized since the formation of the interim government in Zaria in 2017. We are expecting every Ambazonian who has concern for this revolution to be in Berlin. Berlin is a place for every one of us, every Ambazonian, everybody who cares about the revolution. Berlin is going to leave an impact on the cause and the face of this revolution. And we are hoping that everyone who calls himself or herself an Ambazonian, be it from Western Europe, Central Europe, will find his or herself in Berlin. Everyone, every Ambazonian has to be there. So please, we want to see you there. We want to see you there. And that is why we are doing this very special broadcast today. I have with me, joining me today, other important organizers of this conference. And they shall be speaking on what they are doing to facilitate the holding of this conference. I brought them here so that we can all listen to them, know what they are doing, and know what the prospects of this conference are. I have with me in the studio our own very Secretary of State for the Department of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Elat Kesito. Thank you, Dr. Elat, for joining, sir. You are welcome.
Thank you so much, Secretary Chris. It's my pleasure being with you today.
Thank you. And of course, I also have with me here in the studio, our own very Vice President of the interim government, in the name of Dr. Abongwa Harrison. Doctor, you are welcome, sir.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris. Thanks for having me on your platform. Good evening, dear televiewers, and greetings to the rest of the members in the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also have right here in the studio one of the main organizers in one of these main organizers for this event, Dr. Yaya Foye, joining us from Germany. Doctor, you are welcome. Thank you. I would like to start this conversation with Dr. Elat, who is the chief organizer of Berlin 2019. Dr. Elat, you have been working so hard to see that this event is a success. I would like you to tell us what is going on. Is there the required momentum that every Ambazonian is looking up to in Germany, in Berlin? Tell us what you are seeing in Berlin at this time. About 1 week to the start of this conference. What is the momentum on the ground, sir?
Again, thank you, Secretary Chris, and good evening, good day to all the televiewers. and my panelists, good evening. In fact, it's really wonderful to be here to explain the momentum on the ground. It's rolling. And thanks to the committed members, Ambazonia people who are here in Germany, working day in, day out. Countless conference calls, in fact, sleepless night to make sure everybody coming is satisfied, and that is our goal, in order that we hit the target that is there, in order to deliver on the ground zero what is going to be on that resolution, which the AVP would elaborate on that. I would like to say, for the moment, everything has been put in place. I mean, everything. We don't wait for the last minute. We have made sure accommodations are ready, thanks to our logistic team. The event areas, halls, conference halls, everything is ready. The women are ready. And most important, people, the women who are going to make sure those who are coming from far and wide don't stay or don't miss their home, don't stay hungry. I know we are not coming here to eat because we have our Amber, ladies and gentlemen, fellow country people of Ambazonia who are in the bushes and have nothing to eat, but all the same, we are gathering here in order to make them feel that we have not forgotten them and we are going to deliver. So the momentum is high, is rolling, and thanks to the committees concerned, that Dr. Yaya, who is there also now with us, and the panel will explain on that, because she organized all the committees and I'm just there to oversee everything moving. We are really gearing up to receive all Ambazonians in Berlin. And there is a saying, Berlin, Berlin.
If I may come in there, for a second, we want to know how many people are you expecting in Berlin, going by the capacity of the venue that you have?
Well, at the beginning, we were saying expecting 100, 150, but Secretary Chris, I would tell you now that we can now start getting afraid of the numbers of people planning to be here in Berlin. In fact, I am saying it going up to hit the target of 500, 500 people. We were expecting something like 100, 150, 200 people. So luckily we got a hall that can accommodate up to that capacity. And that is a good thing because the people are motivated. People want to come and the people are ready to be in Berlin.
But if I may ask, don't you think that you underestimated by even thinking of 150 people? Don't you think you underestimated everything? Because I mean, this is the interim government, and to plan a conference such as this in Europe, where you have Belgium, you have France, you have London, you have Norway, Denmark, Italy, Spain, all these countries around there, don't you think that that was, you really underestimated capacity from the onset?
Well, let me use the German style of answering that type of question where we say Jain, which is ja and nein, yes and no. Due to the situation that was on the ground and yeah, we should not hide the truth under the table. The way the revolution was going, we were thinking, yeah, okay, maybe some people just like to participate online or chip in their phones and not come. Yeah, we underestimated, but 150 to 200 was also not a bad number. But we are happy to underestimate it, but we did overestimated because we underestimated, but we got a hall that can take this capacity. We also have committees that can take care of all the people who are coming. We were not planning only to receive the 150. We were already putting an extra effort to see that if there is any population explosion, we are going to cope with that. So we were prepared, but at the same time we underestimated, which is, we did not underestimated also with the budget. We did not underestimated with the accommodation. We did not underestimated with the transportation and feeding. We just underestimated the numbers. So we had surplus for little number estimated, but also now the overestimated and the numbers that have exploded, we are still capable of accommodating each and every person.
All right. So at this time, I would like to bring in Dr. Harrison and Dr. Yaya. And Dr. Harrison, I will start with you. You are the chief organizer, the chief host of this event. Can you tell our audience what you are expecting, your expectations for this conference, please?
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Chris. My dear brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure to be here to talk to you on the Ambazonian Stakeholder Strategic Conference. What expectations do we have? Well, if you consider the concept behind the organization of this conference, it's all based on ensuring that it's the people's conference. However, the conference is based on getting specific objectives that would be or should be, attainable on a short-term base in order that we succeed in delivering concretely to ground zero by the time we leave Berlin. So one of the peculiar aspects of this conference is the all-inclusiveness in its, modality that has been used to source the stakeholders. So the conference will be covering a group of main stakeholders that include the worldwide country heads and the regional coordinators, as well as the worldwide LGA and county chairs. Now, what we expect from our people, the first thing is ensuring that they meet up with the objectives, the main objectives of the conference. What I mean is that these objectives meet up with their wills, aspirations, and desires. So specifically, we are expecting to, on the first line, get that process that would take us through, empowering the IG machinery to ensure that it is efficient enough to meet up with the drawbacks, excesses, loopholes, and challenges we've been having in the revolution at this point. Then that's in line with the first objective, and which entails getting our stakeholders, key players in having this critical analysis on the functional status of the government and making suggestions, why not, projects, programs, and recommendations on how to empower the machinery.
Doctor, one of the theme, the theme of this
security situation in ground zero. This is very paramount to the government.
That is the word that you use as a theme of this conference, syncretizing. A lot of people have said that's a lot of English. Can you break it down to the understanding of a regular person out there who may be wondering, what does this mean? What is this conference? What does syncretizing mean about this conference? Can you break it down to the understanding of every Ambazonian out there, please?
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Chris. Now, that word syncretizing was technically used on one part, let's say, to incite curiosity, but the essence was to cover the context upon which the conference was organized. Syncretizing basically means uniting and reconciling values from different cultures and different social extractions. So by way of the objective in Berlin, which is that of coming out as one people in prosecuting our revolution, that word was, the suitable choice to define the theme of this conference.
All right. Now, concerning the outcome of this conference, what do you hope to arise from Germany when it is all said and done?
Now, the first thing and the biggest hope is that we meet our objectives in Berlin, because that will be the first step in transmitting or launching a cosmic and terrific distress to our neighbors on the other side of the Mongol. What I mean is we should be highly committed to ensure that Berlin 2019 gives ground zero a security situation. We want to leave Berlin with the hope that our people back home will no more be scared. But there are certain situations which we termed para-abomination situations that have been ongoing in ground zero. That is the first thing. We must stabilize ground zero. We must give ground zero a good state of stability, integrity, and security. And this entails our engagement to put the resources at our disposal to meet up with this strategic project.
All right, thank you. I will now turn to Dr. Yaya, who is one of the chief organizer of the conference right there in Germany. I would like to ask you, what are the challenges? What have been the challenges putting this event together?
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello. It appears
we
cannot get...
I'm not getting Dr. Yaya. I just hope that's not the same thing for the other televiewers.
Yes, apparently I can hear her myself from the studio. And she apparently can hear me because I see her speaking. We will get back to her in a moment, but let me get back to Dr. Elad to take that question. Dr. Elad, what is going on? What is going on? What are the difficulties you are facing there on the ground in Berlin, trying to put this event together, sir?
Yeah, well, everything, there are challenges, but not that aggravated in the way on saying challenges. Germany is a large country, and we have our organizers, the committees all over Germany, all over the 16 states of Germany, and we communicate and they try to realize their duties from far and wide. So we who are in Berlin now carry the task in order to make sure everything is done So the jobs, the family, the day-to-day activities, and coupled with this organization is bearing us down. If you know me very well, you've never seen me with hair, so you can see that I'm growing afro in order to, because there's just no time to put it down. But all the same, it's a beautiful challenge because we are doing it for our people. We are doing it for Ambazonia, the motherland Ambazonia. So it's enjoyable. We like it. Yeah, there's our difficulties. We have a lot to intervene in various diplomatic offices in order to bring some people from outside who are also great Ambazonians. And yeah, so challenge is always there. And the word in cap is also, sometimes you have a lot in your pocket. Before you put one or two things in place, you see the pocket is empty. That one is never well estimated. But all the same, as I said, not that aggravated challenges. Things are moving smoothly. I would say we are at the age of 85% of doing everything, and the 15% will just be to receive people from their various airports. So we might say we are 5 on 5 ready.
All right. If I may go back to Dr. Yaya, I don't know whether we can hear her now. I believe she hears us. I don't know whether we're able to hear her. Dr. Yaya, can you try? Let's see whether we can hear you, please. Can we hear you? Apparently not. We still can't hear you. I don't know whether your microphone is turned on, because we can see you talking, but we cannot hear you. Dr. Abongwa, Ambazonians would want to know why this conference at this moment, when we just had another conference yesterday in D.C. People are saying, is this the reign of conferences? Or why is this conference different from the one that took place yesterday at the weekend in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, Secretary Chris, now we've gone through, as you rightly said, a series of conferences. What I want to precise is each conference has its objective and an agenda. Now, this conference has been procrastinated for a couple of months, because this conference was announced, I think it's as far back as November 2018. Now, what I want to state here is, what differences do we have with respect to the other conferences? I will just state with respect to what we just had in the DC yesterday. We should always stand at position of appreciating each step that we take in, escalating our gains in the revolution. I think the DC conference meets up with this, call for open-mindedness in each, gain that we obtain for the revolution. What I want to precise here is we've gone through the era of attempts for unity, for collaboration, and there has been this persistent request from the people. So what I want to put up here is that step in creating collaboration should be appreciated. That's where I will stand in stating the difference between the just ended conference. But then I think we've got to consider the prosecution of this revolution more on a 360-degree perspective. That's getting the gains from every angle. Now, what Berlin brings to the people is putting the destiny of the people in their hands. So Berlin has this objective of meeting up with a situation that has been apparently, more of putting our people in the position of being afraid of our own defenders, if I might put it that way. So I think it is paramount, if not obligatory, as well as a responsibility to all Ambazonians in the diaspora to consider instating security in Ground Zero their top priority at this moment. That is where Berlin 2019 comes. We must not, and we should do everything to ensure that we give Berlin with a solid foundation in terms of safeguarding the security of Ground Zero. So I would use just this as one of the main objectives to give you the difference between the different conferences. And I would really call on our people to be open-minded in acknowledging and appreciating those efforts that are geared towards, taking up step ahead, escalating the game, and fast-tracking our way forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let me see. I can get Dr. Yaya back online with us. Again, she was hearing us, but we can't hear her. Apparently, the problem isn't coming from the studio here. It's probably something has to do with having to do with her camera. Dr. Yaya, can you try? Let's see whether we can hear you, please. Can you? Where the problem is still there.
She has to fix that problem because she has a lot to say.
Well, let me go back to the AVP. AVP, there's been so much talked about the need for the IG to restructure. Is this something that you are looking into coming out of Germany or Berlin?
Thank you, Secretary Chris, for that question. I think, as I stated, the objectives of this conference will not change, and the agenda will not change. That has been stated. That is what I've carried to what I agreed upon with the conveners. That is what I've been, carrying on in the different outreaches I've been making with countries, communities, LGAs, counties, to explain why this conference and why strategically we have to meet up with those, with the two main objectives at this moment. The people buy heavily these objectives. But then if you consider the processes that will go through the first objective, as I stated, the first objective normally entails us, acknowledging the worries, concerns, and expectations of both Ground Zero and the international community. What expectations do we have from them as a government? And then on the other part, having a critical analysis on what has been, the level of achievement of the government, as well as, considering its, as I said, its loopholes, drawbacks, excesses, and challenges. And then we have the stakeholders come in to consolidate and empower that machinery to ensure that it is efficient enough to meet up with these expectations, if I might just use just that word. So what I'm expecting is a flexible mind of Ambazonians that would consider both the functional and the structural adjustments necessary to get this machinery as solid as possible, the bulldozer, to walk through these challenges we are having in prosecuting the revolution. In that light now, I'll come back precisely to your question. Does Berlin 2019 project such changes? It might entail getting recommendations or considerations or directives or, advices on how to manage better certain, governmental spheres. So I would not exclude that possibility. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Elliott, if I may come back to you, what is the picture looking like for people who are traveling from out of Germany coming into Berlin? I'm talking about accommodation, security. There will be a high level delegation, stakeholders delegation from across the world in Germany. What is the preparedness, the level of preparedness for, as far as security is concerned, for this delegation? The president, the AP will be there, and cabinet members, restoration council members, local government directors, and so forth, so on and so forth. They shall be there. What is the level of security preparedness for Berlin, so we don't have what happened in Nera in Nigeria take place in Berlin?
Thank you, Secretary Chris. First and foremost, let me make it clear that Berlin is one of the safest country in the world, and particularly in Europe. Notwithstanding, is something that is legally done, and we've complied with all the rules and regulations and laws of this country in organizing this conference. For that reason, I will make it clear to you that this conference has been registered right up to the Foreign Affairs, to the police, and to the local area where we are going to be conveyed. So again, we have also made sure that we have security firms that are going to be in charge of all our guests that are coming in and out of Germany. As you rightly said, we are having high-level personalities coming here from the AP, AVP, directors, and Restoration Council. So we want to guarantee each and every one that there is no fear, anything, just nothing. Well, anything can happen. There's no one is God to see everything at the same time. But we've done our maximum best to make sure that we've put everything secured in place. And for accommodation, as I said at the beginning of the show, I said our logistic team is really doing a great job. You guys have been hearing from Comrade Clovis, Comrade Peter Ndula. They are there on the ground, making sure each and every one. There is a website out that if you need accommodation, you just need to fill the form, send it to them, and they are going to satisfy you in the space of less than an hour. So we also have open-minded and good people, goodwill people of Ambazonians in Berlin who are prepared to take people in their houses. So everything is secured, guaranteed, and well handled, Secretary Chris.
All right. Let me see. I can try again once more to get Dr. Yaya. Let me try her once more. Dr. Yaya, can you hear? Can you hear us now? Dr. Yaya, can you hear us? I think she's frozen on her screen. I guess this wasn't a good day for her. I will go back to the AVP, Dr. Abongwa. What is coming back from Berlin? what do you expect to see happen going forward in the interim government? Because lots of people out there have been talking about the need for a different interim government. Do you see that coming up after the Berlin conference?
Yeah, Secretary Christoph, I got that question correct. I just want to paraphrase. Are you intending making reference to functional or structural?
Of course, I'm referring to functional, and of course also structural. I know you answered a question about structural before, but of course it encompasses both.
All right. Yeah, thank you. I think the first thing, if we reach our objectives in Berlin, it would be regaining the trust of our people in terms of the concreteness in our actions, because we must, show that level of engagement when we come back from Berlin to put in place or implement the strategies on accountability, which will only be backed by our concrete deliverance in ground zero. So the first thing I would say is Berlin 2019, the first indicators of efficiency of attaining our objectives would be deliverance to ground zero. And I hope that would be attained a couple of months prior to when we from our Berlin mission. Then on the functional status of the IG, I think Berlin is geared at building a relationship with the people. The Amber Peace Plan, LJ by LJ structural reform, works on building our communities from the bottom-top model. There are different spheres in which we think our machinery in prosecuting this revolution can be empowered. So coming back to Berlin, based on what would be the indications and the recommendations and resolutions of our people, we will need to focus on these aspects to deliver attainable and also, let's say, sustainable projects for the revolution. What would be of great importance in any case would be the open-mindedness of this IG in listening to the people. I think we've got just so many resourceful people out there. But in the course of the different outreaches I've made, it's like it's difficult to reach out, or at times people have that perception that the cabinet is the alpha and omega of the revolution. No, that concept would, I hope, by the time we leave Berlin, that is one of the aspects we would try to iron out. All inclusiveness would also entail sourcing and getting, our able and capable compatriots in the different sectors in which we should be working to get this revolution to the finish line.
The AP, you will recall that this revolution, or let me say, the interim government has gone through a lot of evolution, from SCACUF to the governing council to the interim government. And the interim government itself is going through quite a lot of evolution. We started with the interim government with the Restoration Council in country heads. Now we are having not just the executive, the Restoration Council in country heads, we are also having the local government chairpersons or directors. It is hoped that the local government entities shall be giving lots of responsibilities to perform In this government, it is called a people's-oriented government. Can you tell our people watching, especially those on ground zero, let them can they know what the rule of the LGAs coming out from Berlin is going to be? I understand the plan is to have them constitute or become part of or become the Restoration Council. Of course, I'm very much aware it is not your decision to make, but what do you envisage becoming the rule of the LGAs and the counties coming out from Berlin?
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Chris. That might sound a very complex question to answer it simply. Now, what I want to let our people know is, ideas are always very welcoming, but there is a clear-cut difference between sharing ideas on social media or public arena and decisions that constitute government policies. Now, I would just want to go through two processes which are very binding. In as much as we would always want to stand at position of taking the right decision, we would acknowledge, and this is something I've been stating repeatedly, we would acknowledge that the most rational thing to do at times might not still be the most ethical position to take. And even when that is the situation, it still would might entail going through democratic processes. Something that also requires the minority to accommodate the position of majority. But then there is one vision which the IG would want to project, considering the revolutionary setting in which we are. That's the 3P perspective. In as much as we stand the position of defending the government policies as a people with true patriotic values and ensuring that we instate or we inject professionality to the highest level in these decisions, I think the government will be taking the right decision. That said, I'll go into the position of, stratifying the let's say the area of jurisdiction expected from the local government areas with respect to the country coordinators. One thing, just as I stated 2 minutes ago, we should be open to hearing. So one of the agenda topics of Berlin 2019 is, defining the terms of references of both the country and regional coordinators and that of the local government areas and the county chairs. That's already a point of, dialogue, meeting with the people, relating with the people, trying to get and understand the specificities of their different areas. But then when it comes to ground zero, why this, restructural model of the LGA is fundamental in guiding our revolutionary agenda is because there is much entailed in backing, what actions we want to carry. We need to carry swift actions. We should be timely. We need to, communicate faster, get an efficient communication. We need to ensure that certain communications are well, coded, classified. Now, when you consider the aspects of, the peculiarities, the linguistic peculiarities that bind, the diaspora, LGA, and their local people, when you consider the fact that those down there are, they've got a better acquaintance of their territory, when you consider the fact that by way of their innate, cultural bond, there is much, trust and, commitment and responsibility towards defending them, it's the logical that what we are trying to reflect with the IGA restructural model is to create a mirror image of the diaspora in ground zero. It is as if we are bridging the gap to the minimest, the smallest, millimeters between the diaspora and ground zero. And that would of course, be transformed into efficient actions on, prosecuting, even if it's meeting up with the humanitarian request, even if it's meeting up with defending ourselves on the war situation that has been declared upon us. If it means, assisting our refugees and our IDPs, and as well as, our detainees. So what I might say, Chris, to Ground Zero is this is a model of shared governance which the IG has got, and this model, ensures that the people's voice be heard. But that is not the first thing. It gives top priority to safeguarding the lives and the dignity of the people we stand to govern. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ehlert. Europe is a little difficult place to be in terms of transportation. Most people have been to Europe. Most people do not own cars. They use public transportation. What are you trying to do? What are you putting in place as far as transportation is concerned to this conference?
May I ask if you are saying people coming from outside, or are you saying people who live, who are coming to
both
Berlin,
people coming from outside and those who live in Berlin? Well, those who live in Berlin would definitely be able to find themselves to the venue, but those coming from outside, how do they get there?
Well, Secretary Chris, you have been in Europe, specifically Germany and Berlin. And what I want to tell the visitors who are coming, the Ambazonians, that Berlin is where you can find the most efficient transport in the world. I mean, Berlin is where you go into the subway that brings you right in front of your door, from wherever to wherever. So Berlin is transport efficient and very, very cheap. For example, you can have a single ticket for, let's say, for those who are coming from America, will be $3. Those who are in Europe, €2.70. You can use this ticket for 2 hours. You can use the underground, the overground, the tram. You can use the buses, the bicycles, and in fact, for 2 hours, and you use the ring band, that is the ring road, the train road. There is a subway road called Ring, for €2.70. And if you want to be more economical, you can buy a ticket for €7, which will be around, say, $8, $9 for the whole day, 24 hours. So transportation, we used to say in Berlin that is having a car is just a luxury, because normally people don't need cars in Berlin. I leave my house, I just go under the subway right there, not up to 50 meters, and it brings me wherever I'm going, and I come out and I'm there.
So let me go back to something I think I may have touched on. Dr. Ehlert, if I may go back to something I believe I may have touched on from the beginning of this interview. What is the level of involvement of Ambazonians in Berlin in particular? Because I know that is where the conference is taking place, and that is where you have a good chunk of them, and that is where you are. What is the level? I wish Dr. Yaya was here to talk on this, but we can't get her to be with us here for some audio reasons. But what is, can you tell everyone listening, what is the level of excitement and involvement of Ambazonians in Berlin for this event?
Yeah, without using propaganda or whatever, the level is high. The people in Berlin are waiting for this day, and I would like to make it clear here that we have what we call Berlin Brandenburg, that is Berlin and Potsdam. So we always like to join our affairs together. It's called Berlin, Brandenburg, as if it's one city, but these are two different cities, but so joined together that you cannot separate. And that's where we have one of our very high-level Ambazonia, Songwe and his compatriots. So we are all together really excited. The excitement is really high. We have already a committee, but not everybody is in the committee. We can't put everybody, but there are people who are in the background. I would say 2 days ago, before I could come here, there are already people who are coming here right at my place to see how they're going to put the place in order. As the Secretary of State, and we will be having high-level people here at my house. So these are things that are happening. There are people who are already putting their cars available for transportation of, as I said, there are people who are taking people in their houses, giving them accommodation. There are women, Ma Marie, popularly you know her. You've met her, you've been to her house, it's already having women's preparing to kick off with the cooking, you know. So the excitement in Berlin, in fact, just 2 days ago, somebody told me I'm almost a call center. And the calls and the meetings, the people want to know and everything, what is going on. Well, yeah, there is really that excitement. People want to really see and meet the Ambazonians coming from outside.
Sure. All right. If I may go back to Dr. Abongwe, you happen to be at the center of this. You are, again, the main host or chief organizer of this event. Coming out of Germany, there are talks of negotiations, possibly between Ambazonians and La République du Cameroon. On ground zero, there's a lot of anxiety to know how prepared the interim government is. You are going to Germany for one of these reasons. Can you assure Ambazonians on ground zero that coming out of Berlin, the interim government will serve them better, especially in any eventuality of a call for negotiation or dialogue with French Cameroon, please?
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Chris. I think the first part of your request for assurance to ground zero is very easy. In no platform shall the interim government seek for anything less than independence. So that's the first assurance. On the engagement of the interim government to meet up with this potential request, I think we've gone through different processes. It was initiated with the ACON committee that was to work up on reconciling with some important stakeholders of the revolution to ensure that when this moment arrives, we should be sitting on that table as a people. That's work in progress. And that's part of what was the objective of the just ended DC conference, which considered part of the stakeholders that would be involved in such a process. But one other position which our people should be rest assured of is that on any table of negotiation, their voices must be heard. And the interim government will always stand to ensure that they create that forum or that constitutional board from which to extract the people's voice in terms of negotiating for independence. And in this case, I would just want to precise also that negotiations it's a very complex process. So probably our people should not be astonished if, you know, we have to seek, you know, professional assistance. When I stated the 3P perspective here, that's where I was also. We should not be afraid when we consult. That does not put us in a position of weakness. Consulting is to ensure that what we obtain is as concrete and, you know, good to the nation as we desire. So this work in progress in terms of, you know, anticipating or positioning in case of any eventual negotiations should be perceived both in the direction of the people sitting on the table and, of course, the possibility of a technical board of experts delegated by our people to speak for their behalf. Thank you.
Okay, if I may ask this question to both of you, Dr. Elliott and Dr. Abongwa, what is the lineup of speakers for this event in Berlin? I guess a lot of people would want to know who is doing what, who is speaking there. If you have the liberty to do so, can you please?
Well, let me say here that we have high-level motivational speakers who are going to be in Berlin, but due to some, I don't want to use the word security reasons or whatever, that we want just to put it as a surprise. Let that not be what is going to motivate some people to come to Berlin. The people are coming here, first of all, for the security of our people, to secure the safetyness of our people in ground zero. So not because they heard that Obama is coming here on the 6th of April to be at the conference, will push people to come here to see Obama. That's why we just want to keep that within us, and yeah, for those who will be there. But to assure you that there are high-level motivational speakers from all over the world who will be in Berlin on that day. And just going back to the last question you asked me, if I may, I don't want to paint a picture as if there are not some people who are not happy with this conference coming up in Berlin. Yeah, but there are very few in numbers. And those type of things always exist. You might have been hearing people saying up and down, some say division, some say whatever. There are very few, and it's good so, because this is that is life. If you have, I always believe if there's everything that is 100%, then there's a type of dictatorship. So there are some people who should oppose it. As you can see in the Washington conference that took place yesterday, there were people who were opposed on it, and it still went on. So those type of things are also happening, but that makes us, that motivate us the more when we see such aspects of life. We make sure that we put our minds and heads together in order to we deliver what has been promised to the people. Because as is rightly said, as the AVP have said it, this conference is to give power to the people, to build a bottom-up society and not top-down. So the people have the right to do their things, to control their local government areas up to their counties, and to hold the government accountable. There are two things I always say, the reason of when we confuse holding the government accountable and abusing the government. These are two things different. But we, most of us, use the abusive attitude of holding our government instead of holding the government accountable, like what some civil societies do in order to put the government in place. So this is the conference, as you said in the beginning, the first of its kind since the Zaria conference that we had in Nigeria.
All right. I don't know whether Dr. Abongo has anything to add to that question.
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Chris. If you would permit, I would just like to get a rundown of the program so that we understand virtually where we could be fitting in interventions from our people during the conference. Now, on Friday, we are expected to undertake a sort of a sit-down protest in front of the Nigerian embassy in Berlin to request the enforcement of the recent ruling of the Abuja High Court in favor of, the release and transportation of people back to Nigeria. Then from there, we'll be heading to the conference, and the conference where we'll be having 3 sessions. Now, in the first sessions, we'll be focused more on the humanitarian aspects of this the fact issues affecting our revolution. We'll be having during this session the presence of some high-level diplomats from the German community and some civil society organs from Germany, as well as some humanitarian associations. Then we'll proceed with the second phase of the conference, which would be more of a debate and presentation session to the Ambazonians. And then the third, that would be the phase in which we'll be sourcing those key issues or burning issues that will be tabled to be deliberated upon on Saturday during the stakeholders proper meeting. So Friday, to precise, would be the Friday night would be the fundraising night, which will ensure that it is also carried, transmitted upon through ABC for those who can participate from all over the world can contribute with the meetup with the objectives and if they stand to defend security of course. Then on Saturday, we'll be having the stakeholder proper meeting. Virtually Saturday, we should be having 2 per events. We'll be having the stakeholders proper meeting on one part, and then the football, solidarity football match, and some other recreative activities for the rest of the Congress attendees. And then we'll be reconciling the masses towards the end of the day for the final deliberations and considerations.
Is there supposed to be a rally on one of those days? Because I think I've heard something like that.
You mean a demonstration, right?
Yes, a demonstration.
Yeah, that's what he just said. I think Comrade Yaya is asking for a code to join because she's prepared. She was kicked out, so she's trying to ask. If I might just say that. If
I will text her the code.
Okay. So, yeah, the AVP just said it. We'll be commemorating in front of the Nigerian embassy on Friday.
And for what purpose would that be?
Yeah, that will be to, well, it will be like sit-down protest or gratitude. I will put it gratitude more as a protest to thank the Nigeria. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but to make sure to push the Nigeria government to embark slowly and fully on the decisions of the High Court of Nigeria for the release of the sending back of our leaders to Nigeria you know what I'm talking about. So this is exactly what we will be protesting in front of the Nigeria embassy, to tell them, first of all, to thank them, to their democracy, for having this court judgment positive on our side, and make sure they implement the decision of the court to release His Excellency Seseko and the cabinet members, if possible, the other 49 that were arrested in Nigeria, to take them back to Nigeria. So that is the aim of that protest.
Dr. Abongwa, do you think that that protest really matters? The Nigerian government decided to appeal the ruling of their own high court. Do we think it is necessary to carry on this demonstration, knowing that the Nigerian government has already appealed that ruling? I mean, is it necessary?
Well, as I said, Secretary Chris, the enforcement has not yet been factual. So I agree with you on the position of the appeal. But I still think this is a situation in which we should be appreciating a law-abiding nation. And that stands to state where we are too. We had our leaders detained incommunicado for more than 9 months. But how long did the Nigerian High Court take to pass this ruling? So we term it a protest, but it should not really be perceived as a protest. It will be more of an appreciation to the Nigerian government for this, recent ruling of the Abuja High Court, and expressing our hopes for the implementation of enforcement in the shortest time possible.
All right, I think we finally got Dr. Yaya to join us. Let's see if we can hear her now. And let me go back to the questions of the difficulties, the challenges faced in organizing this event. Dr. Yaya, tell us, please, what have been your challenges in Germany trying to put this event together?
Okay, good evening, Secretary Chris. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay, glad to be back. Right. So I'm actually talking on behalf of the entire team, the organizing team here based in Germany. We've got a fantastic team on the ground. Everybody is just giving in their very best, and all they have is ground zero at heart. And I think that's why the challenges have just become a joyful one. Yes, I think one of the biggest challenges was the practical time, to the conference, to get everything under control. Initially, yes, we're a bit concerned about that, but I tell you, I've never seen anything this big. And the amount of commitment, everybody's just giving their best, having sleepless nights, doing everything to make sure that this works, and I think the only force behind this is the suffering of our people on ground zero. When we see these horrendous pictures of, children and kids being burnt, villages being destroyed, our men and women in the bushes, homeless, without food, there's just nothing we can complain about. We have to push ourselves to our limits. So ground zero, this is all for you and nothing else. So yeah, that was the challenge, or the main challenge. And the second one probably was finances. But again, I say there's just one thing that unites us all, and that's love and sympathy for humanity. You wouldn't believe this, this whole conference, to the best of my knowledge, to the best of what I know, is really self-funded. And again, everybody is chipping in their little widow's mite to make sure that this happens. And because we know that ground zero needs all the help, this is not a Hollywood event. It might sound as such, but it truly is not. It's really about getting everybody come together, and for once, from this government, to have that face-to-face connection with its people. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity that should not be missed. No matter our differences, no matter the negativity that has existed in the past, people This is our revolution. It's about our country. I would encourage each and every one of you to come out and make your voices heard. So I've just seen this tremendous sacrifice by the team, putting in their time, putting in money, everybody chipping in. It's really like a small jangi. We make sure that we go around and just pull the resources together. And we're really running on a very lean budget, very, very lean. In terms of the logistics team, I wish I had the whole team on board. They're just fantastic. Like they've organized.
I will one of these days get you and your whole entire logistic team on board here.
I think that'll be great because they're wonderful. They're just they're great. They are awesome, to be honest. And it makes the work easy, and it just gives us that joy to, work from scratch with pretty much nothing or very little, and based on the help from every Ambazonian of goodwill. We're able to manage to come up with stuff. And I think the message we're trying to pass here is, we're not taking the suffering of Ground Zero for granted. We know the pain of our people. We share in that pain. We shouldn't believe in all the talk that goes around that the diaspora is, disconnected from the pain of Ground Zero. No. We just happen by design or by nature or by destiny to be here, not by choice, or well, by choice probably, but at this time of our revolution, we just happen to be here. But all we can do is sympathize with you, and our intention in this convention, at least those of us on the ground here, is to do our best with very little to achieve that aim of raising as much as we can to support Ground Zero and make sure that they are safe and they're healthy.
If you may talk again a little bit, all of you, the three of you, one minute each, about the financial challenges. I have been part of some of the meetings organized to prepare for this conference, and I've heard again and again and again of the financial challenges. If I can give each of you a minute to make an appeal to Ambazonians watching and listening to us right now. Some of them may want to chip in a little support. Can you do that? And if you have any means of donation, you can also talk about that so that those who want to donate or contribute or support can use that information to do so. 1 minute each of you, please.
Sure. So yes, fellow brothers and sisters, this is about us. It's about our nation building. We are all involved. We are all obliged to be involved. We are not supposed to be neutral for whatever reasons. So please look at those babies being grilled. Look at the grandmothers burying their children. Look at our boys, dying in the bushes, bleeding to death. I think that's enough reason for you to chip in and do something. So please go to the PayPal. And the address or the email address is assc@ambazoniagov.org. I'm not so sure about the Cash App address. I'm sorry. Maybe someone else has that.
What was that email again? What was that email again?
ASSC as the name of the conference at ambazoniagov.org. So you can pay by PayPal
at ambazoniagov.org. That is the PayPal address for donations, correct?
That's right. And I think the Cash App, I'm only guessing, is the $sign ASSC-BERLIN 2019. But I'm not sure about that.
All right. So, I guess somebody who has that information among the three of you or out there can put it on the screen for others.
And also just asking people, you could just do contributions locally, and there will always be someone who is connected to the organizing team, and you can forward that to us. But really, remember, this is really self-funded, and people are truly working from their hearts. And this is to reach out to Ground Zero to say, we care about you. And we care about our leaders in the prison, and that's why we're going to, I'm sure that must have been talked about already. One of the main parts of the program is also the protest in front of the Nigerian embassy. That's to honor our leaders and all those who are incarcerated in those terrible, dilapidated prisons of Yaoundé.
Dr. Elad, please.
Yeah, Secretary Chris, you asked about a keynote speaker, and I would say Secretary Chris is one of them. So when you called me and telling me that you're booking your hotel, I will want to tell you one thing, a secret that I want to bust out now. Till then, we haven't had a hall to accommodate people. People were calling me, I've already bought my ticket. In fact, as Dr. Yaya said it, when I get up in the morning and see videos and pictures of what is happening in Ground Zero, and I know the aim of this conference is for the security and safety of the people of G1, G0, even G1, the refugees who are there, let me be honest, and our leaders in jail with this unspeakable condition that they are living. I smash my leg up and down Berlin. Berlin is a place where if you want to do an event, a huge event like this, make sure you already book your hall at least minimum 6 months before. But as is always said, it's a God-ordained struggle. We got that place, you would imagine yourself. And we, from our own token, from our own pocket, we were paying that hall. And it's a huge sum of money. So my fellow people, fellow Ambazonians all over the world, this conference belongs to you. And this conference is to change the momentum of this revolution. So don't sit back and think it's for some few people. No, it's for all of us. We are here to make sure our people don't have that belief that we are disconnected to them. We are not, we are connected. So each and every one is welcome to contribute, to discuss, to give your own proposal, your opinion on the way forward. And I will call it a way forward for peace. Peace for our people in Ground Zero. So please come, give your own small donation, what you can do. And I want to thank all those who have been doing that up till now, relentlessly. Thank you so much. And the others who have been sitting behind, come out. We will always appreciate your gift.
Thank you, Dr. Abongwe. I know you certainly have something to add on this subject of funds to run the event. Dr. Abongwe, can you hear me, please?
Hello, yeah, Secretary Chris, sorry, your voice was a bit low.
Oh, okay. So if you can add your voice to this issue of funds to run the event, please.
Yeah, thank you. Now, what I want to state here is still an appreciation. You know, of undertaken different outreaches to countries and to some LGAs, and the level of commitment of our people at times is really astonishing. I mean, just to express how much we get surprised by our people. You know, we've been trying to work this conference, as Dr. Yaya was saying, on a lean budget. And the reason is we are not projecting any excesses here, you know, to the detriment of the security situation in Ground Zero, where we're a bit lacking in terms of economic resources. So when we decided to open up to the people, you wouldn't believe, because initially what, you know, the budget was to be acquired through the registration fee from the different LGAs and the countries or regions that were to participate as main stakeholders. But this was not forthcoming, and the deadline was, you know, a bit approaching fast. So we had to reach out to the people, and you won't believe the response in a couple of outreaches we made was really encouraging. And I think gradually we are having registration from the different stakeholders, and with God's grace, I think we'll be able to reach the lean budget for this conference, which is between $5,000 and $10,000 euros. I beg your pardon. But what I want to state here is this budget. The main part of this budget goes for feeding and for the hall, and then of course for logistics of transportation for some of our keynote speakers and motivational speakers, which we just decided to hold confidential for now. One other aspect in terms of the funds for this conference is the participation from specific groups. I was, very motivated with the challenge I had from my members of the Cabinet Office of the President, where they stood as stakeholders and they agreed to, sponsor this, conference. This is a sign that our people know what they want. Our people are very determined, and they are ready to give in to take this nation. So I would encourage at this point those who are coming, the main stakeholders. We have an objective, and we must. I'm sorry if I would say must. Might not sound very polite, but we must. That's what we owe Ground Zero. We must deliver the security situation to Ground Zero. So reflect on that. We need the funds to undertake that mission.
All right. That's wonderful. Now, before we go, we have about 15 minutes to round up this show. Again, I want to make the appeal to every Ambazonian out there watching and listening to the panelists here. This is our event. This is our event. We have to make it happen, and all of us must make it happen. The appeal goes to every one of you out there, even if you have donated in the past or recently for this conference, and you are blessed to have more. Please, you can also give more. To those who have not given anything, the appeal is especially to you. If you can find it in your heart to make a $20 donation, a $100 donation, $200 donation, why not $1,000 donation? Let us make this conference a success. And we are going to Germany to raise funds to make sure that Ground Zero is taken care of. We're not going there to celebrate. We're not going there to feast. We are going there to talk business that should take this revolution to the next level. And so again, my appeal to you all is, please, if you can dip your hands in your pocket, get out your credit card, your debit card, and make a $20, $50, $100, $1,000 donation towards assisting the organization of this conference. They will deeply appreciate it. I know Ambazonians, many of you out there are so generous. I saw it the last time when we made an appeal for ABC. I think in 3 days, in 3 or 4 days, we were able to raise about $10,000. And that was great generosity. We have this challenge at hand right now, to make sure that this conference is a success. So please, if you can support it, take out your credit card, use the email address that we gave you for PayPal, make your donation. I guess somebody is putting that information out there on the timeline. I don't have it up here. So please, somebody can put that information there on the timeline so people who want to donate can immediately do so. Now, before I move on, I just want to announce that tomorrow, Monday, I am very sure I shall be having a very special show here with, if not all of the leaders who took part in the Washington, D.C. conference, it will be at least with some of them. But you can rest assured that event will be coming up tomorrow live on ABC. We shall be talking to Comrade Bo Herbert, Akwanga, the AP, Dr. Fontaine. I have not secured all of their availability, but they are all aware. We're just trying to work around availability. I think it will be a good moment for Ambazonians to listen to them and get to understand a little more of what they did and discuss in Washington, D.C. Again, that will be tomorrow at, it will come up between 7 or 8 p.m. Amber time. Again, a special live presentation with the leaders coming out from the D.C. conference. I will host that event, and I will actually open the phones for you to be able to ask them what questions that you have. Tomorrow, Monday, make it a date. It will be interesting. Let me go back to my panelists here and go back to Dr. Yaya, who has not been around so much, like unlike other guests. Dr. Yaya, can you look at the camera and tell our families, our restoration forces, everybody on ground zero, what you think they are going to benefit coming out of this conference in Berlin? Why you think they should remain with hope in them after this conference in Berlin, please?
Very, 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 very happily do so. So, my country people, for country, we want salute una plenty. We want salute una plenty, and we thank una so much for the big, big work una they do. We see what una they do, more than no things so we no care. We do. We try our best, but we know so if we do more. And why that we don't say we must tie our belt. But the suffer una they suffer. We see how they kill una, how they wound una no even get hospital for go, una no get chop for chop. Begin and no get place to stay, woman no get place for born. All those things with the see, with the get the pain too like una. Some una no ever believe say just don't throw away una. Things no easy, but we try. But we get to try more because una they do much more. So one beg una say, mona no ever feel discouraged. This conference, they so we try for gather small thing for make sure say mona get team for chop, we make sure say mona be safe. So we would also beg una say, mona try for day together. It be so important. We enemy be big. It plenty big pass we. So if we divided, we'll make things a bit difficult for ourselves. So the beg una try, remember, say even if we quarrel with your brother, now still your brother first. And then the common enemy, all we get we know them. So please, una know they hurt each other. Una no fight so they kill so una ourselves. Because you know the help way. So one beg una say, una no lose hope. If something they hurt una call some person cry for you. Una no make this video them all this thing they for Facebook and so on and so forth. I would beg una plenty because when una do all these videos, they look, they follow una, and then they can't get una, and now all we the lost. Now una family the lost, and we don't want them. So we beg una keep the faith, una continue the good work. May God bless una because una no say una wait una they do not be bad thing. But again, people they do bad things inside this good struggle. We beg and say may they stop that one. The one there they instead they feel it cause small harm for inside their own brother them and sisters. We beg una don't say things they had, don't do it. So please stay together, stay strong. This conference is all about you. Una stay together, and God bless Ambazonia. Thank you. The organization, I just want to thank the team that is in Germany that is putting everything together, and to also guarantee our public and the delegates that security is a big thing. I don't know if the other panelists have mentioned that, but we are not taking security lightly. This is an area that would need a lot of money to be put in, especially given what we know sadly about our leaders. We don't want to take that risk. So everybody who is out there having any concerns about security, be guaranteed that that's being taken care of. So
you know that if I'm kidnapped, you will be kidnapped too, right?
I don't want to undergo an interview or a process to have to explain where you went to. So yeah, we're hoping, and by the grace of God, that everything will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Dr. Elad and Dr. Abongwa, and if you don't mind, you can also chip in there. This is about the nature of the conference. We know there is a plenary. We want to know. I mean, the conference starts proper on the 12th. If I'm wrong, correct me. But it starts proper because I know the 11th is the arrival. Then you have the 12th, 13th, or through the 14th. And I also understand Friday the 12th is plenary. Can you explain to the public, because we don't want people coming there maybe on Saturday and not being able to sit in there. Can you explain how, can you explain the nature of the sitting? Let people know, is everybody coming in on Friday, everybody on Saturday, everybody on Sunday when it ends? Can you explain so people know when to show up their place? Any of you can take that.
So
let me say this, that Friday the conference is open for everybody. Everybody. And on Friday, as the AVP has mentioned it here, I heard it clean and clear, we have Germans, other foreigners who will be there to discuss way forward. I mean, when I say way forward, humanitarian care, peacemaking, negotiation, all those type of things, because this crisis is also touching the German people here, and they are already getting aware about it, and they are talking about it. So we invite each and every one join together to come and talk how we can go forward to resolve this problem. I think there is nobody here who want to see this war continue till the end. We want to stop it somewhere. And the purpose of having the gala is also open for everyone. This is fundraise gala, so it's good when everyone will be there. It's on this Friday, and let me mention it loud again and clear. It's on Friday, not on Saturday, so that people should not be coming and waiting. It's on Friday because, as I earlier said, it was not a piece of cake to get a hall that can accommodate the number of people coming.
Yeah, I'm particularly concerned about when people should show up there at the venue.
You mean the time?
Not the time. Of course, the time is important, but I mean, who should show up and when? Friday, I guess, is plenary. What about Saturday? What about Sunday?
Well, that can the AVP can take that.
All right.
I've said AVP? Friday is open for everybody. Everybody. Friday.
AVP, you want to throw more light in there, please?
Yeah, thank you. Now, just taking it back to Friday morning. Friday morning is open to everybody in front of the Nigerian embassy. Then from there, we'll be moving to the conference venue. Still, participants, everybody. This will take us to Friday night, where we have the fundraising gala, everybody, and participation from the rest of the world through teleconference and other communication means, Facebook or whatsoever. Then Saturday will be the stakeholder proper day. So we'll be having two parallel events on Friday, on Saturday. We'll be having the stakeholders meeting proper on one part, and then on the other part, we'll be having a solidarity football match. This will be taking place in two distinct venues.
And the solidarity football match is taking place. Who is playing who, sir?
The teams are still being worked at. There will probably be Ambazonia versus. We're still technically defining that.
Ambazonia Ambazonia Dove. Maybe we can play Ambazonia Dove who play the Lions of La Republique. We can show them that we are not an enemy of their people.
Will I happen to be in the team by any means?
Yeah, you should appear as the attacker.
Well, as the commentator. As a commentator.
Well, sorry, can I step in there, guys?
Yes,
oh,
please.
Sorry, you're honest. Yeah, that was a joke there. But yes, the football team is still being reconstituted. Just what I wanted to mention, we're used to having most of our conventions on Saturdays being the main fundraising day. We don't want to call it gala because really, I mean, we're going there to raise money. Yes, there's going to be some fun, but really the purpose is really to get that, to reach that target of 100,000. So people, make sure you travel on Thursday evening. It's absolutely important. The Friday morning, this is the day we're going to protest in front of the Nigerian embassy. That is absolutely important to make sure to push or to put pressure on the Nigerian government to follow through with the Abuja judgment. So please, we would expect a massive crowd in front of the Nigerian embassy on that Friday morning. So that implies people should have come in on Thursday evening latest. And then that will be followed by the conference, which goes, like the AP said, AVP, sorry, into the evening. And this is an opportunity for Ambazonians to come and have, you know, a tete-a-tete, you know, or sorry, ask their questions and get answers. And then that same Friday night, that is the fundraising event. So please get this right. It is Friday. Friday is the main day. And then the next day, of course, is very important. You have now the stakeholders, having their deliberations. I also wanted to mention that as part of our fundraising strategies or tips, we're planning on having a dine with the AP or dine with the AVP. So anyone who wants to have a one-on-one talk with the acting president or the acting vice president, we do have special plates or dinners that will be sold, and this is part of the fundraising. This will be coming out in the next few days. So please do that as part of a way to support the conference and also to clarify certain doubts you may have with the interim government. Thank you.
All right, we have come to the end of the program, but before we go, 50 seconds each, Dr. Abongwa and Dr. Elad, if you have anything to say or to add before we call it a day.
So, my fellow people, we want to thank all the organizing committee members all over Europe and in the diaspora who have been doing their best, because not only in Germany, there are other people in the US like
that's true.
Irene, there are people in the UK, in the Scandinavian, Vans, Kuku, and all the rest, Italy. So not only in Germany, people are galvanizing, we're doing it all over the world. Want to thank you guys for your great job. In fact, it's a surprise for me because when this thing was announced to me by the AVP and I brought it out to the people, they just took it as if they were waiting for it. And this is the spirit of Ambazonia. This is what we call the Amba spirit. So thank everyone. And as everyone, you've heard it from the panelists, we are waiting for you guys in Berlin. So Berlin, come to Berlin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Abongwa, please.
Yeah, thank you. Fellow Ambazonians, finally the long-awaited Ambazonia Stakeholder Strategic Conference is about to take place. You heard it, it's Ambazonia, so it's all open to you. We have a moral obligation to defend our homeland, to defend our right to self-determination. I'm pleading and requesting all of you to take that responsibility. Make it a date to Berlin, come to Berlin, and be part of the team that will deliver and launch a seismic distress to our enemies, because henceforth we mean business. Be part of it. Your patriotic values are what I would appreciate. We are one people, and together we'll hit the enemy out. That's my solemn call to you all. Thanks again, Secretary, please, for having me on your platform, and thanks to the other panelists, Secretary of State Elliot and Sister Yaya. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Abongwa. Thank you, Dr. Elliot. Thank you, oh, come on, all of you doctors. I feel inferior here without a doctor. Whatever the
No, don't worry. We are the fake ones. Don't worry.
Oh, you're the fake ones. You got yours in Kumba or what?
Yeah. The honored fake ones.
All right. Whatever the case, thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing up, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have heard it from the organizers of this ASSC, Ambazonia Stakeholders Consultative Conference that is coming up again, April the 11th through April the 14th in Berlin, Germany. That is where all of the routes lead to in April. If you are an Ambazonian in Belgium, in France, in Germany, anywhere in Germany, in London, in Spain, in Italy, in Norway, Switzerland, Denmark, anywhere in Europe, Central, Western, Eastern Europe, that is where you should be. That is going to be the mother of all conferences. In fact, this is the first interim government conference out of Africa. This is the very first one out of Africa. Skakuf took place in Nigeria. I mean, every other one took place in Nigeria. Skakuf, the governing council, and then the evolution to the interim government all took place in Nigeria. This is the very first one. No, I beg your pardon. This is the second one out of Nigeria after the AACC of last year in Washington, D.C. This is the first one in Europe. So please, we're encouraging every Ambazonian in Europe to show up in your numbers. Let us come together, raise funds, and support this revolution, most especially our boys who are defending us, putting their lives on the ground, on ground zero. Thank you all for tuning in, but one more time before I go. Tomorrow, Monday, the 1st, I guess, the 1st of, I think Monday is 1st, the 1st of April, I shall be having a very, very special broadcast with possibly all of the leaders who participated in the Washington, D.C. conference over the weekend. I have spoken to all of them, and we are trying to figure out the time. I may not have all of them, but I can assure you the majority of them shall be here. That will be tomorrow between 7 and 8 p.m. We shall run a crawler to let you know. Once we are aware of the precise time, we will run a crawler to let you know when that interview is coming up. I expect to have Comrade Bo Herbert, Dr. Neba Fontem, Dr. Comrade Akuro, John Ba Akuro, of course the acting president, Dr. Sako, and the Restoration Council Chair, Elvis Kometa. I expect to have all of them here on that show tomorrow. And as usual, as I said, the phone lines will be wide open for you to call in, ask them any question that you have in your mind. Again, thanks for tuning in today. Thank you, Ground Zero, for watching. Thank you, all of you here on Facebook. God bless you until we see again. Thank you once more, Dr. Yaya, Dr. Abongwa and Dr. Elad for joining this very special broadcast. We shall do more of them as we get closer to the event in Germany. Good night.